Investment advisor Dr. Adil Quraish blends faith and determination to define effective leadership. Every leader comes to the responsibilities of leadership differently. Whether they're a leader in a specific business industry or field of expertise or a charitable organization, these individuals will inevitably develop their own leadership philosophy based on their experiences and goals. Some leaders are driven by ongoing achievement, strict personal values guide others, and others are compelled to service and community support. For veteran, private investments advisor, and leadership mentor Dr. Adil Quraish, the journey to leadership has been defined by many moments over the years, but has culminated in a values-driven leadership style that guides both his personal and professional life. Having recently transitioned from business ownership to full-time investing and advisory services, Dr. Quraish applies his expertise toward guiding other leaders and organizations across a number of organizations. By blending operational precision with strategic foresight, he's able to help businesses navigate complexity and scale with purpose. Beyond his professional activities, Dr. Adil Quraish is deeply involved with local community activities, including community-focused mentorship and personal development. He regularly speaks on topics related to generational leadership, the evolving role of family in today's society, and the importance of guiding future generations with clarity and compassion. Guided by his strong spiritual foundation and driven by personal purpose, Dr. Quraish seeks to model a well-rounded life of balance, contribution, and intentional growth for his community and his clients. Defining trials and experiences. When looking back on the experiences that would come to define who he is today, Dr. Adil Quraish doesn't recall specific achievements or moments of triumph and glory, though those things would come in their own time. For Dr. Adil Quraish, the defining moments of his life have been the trials that tested him and forced him to prove his grit and his dedication to his values. In his words, "It was in those moments, when everything felt uncertain, when the weight was heaviest, that I discovered resilience, clarity, and deeper purpose." The first of these experiences came early in his life, where the young, freshly immigrated boy found structure, an outlet, and a common language in the sport of wrestling. The discipline, resilience, and accountability the sport demanded of him drew him in those formative years, eventually culminating in the finals match of a 2006 wrestling tournament in Virginia against the two-time state champion. The suffocating competition atmosphere bled away as he faced down the brutal challenge that would leave him escorted off the mat, realizing that the thought of quitting or failing would be worse than the pain itself. Broken and bloody, Quraish nonetheless emerged as a victor. Grit and resilience carried him through a hopeless fight, and that lesson would continue to serve him for the rest of his life. While that attitude would lead him to external success, it wasn't until Dr. Quraish grounded himself in his faith that he'd begin to feel real satisfaction. In 2012, feeling lost and purposeless, he sat down to pray and reflect. In that fateful prayer, he reconnected with his purpose, to serve God, bring value to others, and uplift those less fortunate. In submitting to that goal and dedicating himself to others, Dr. Quraish's life changed, filled with clarity, conviction, and a momentum he describes as divine. Over the next 15 years, I devoted myself fully to my calling, working 120 hours a week, 7 days a week, with energy that never waned, Dr. Quraish recalls. It wasn't willpower that sustained me. It was purpose. These foundational lessons couldn't crystallize into the leader that Dr. Quraish has become without his years attending the United States Air Force Officer Training School. The drill instructor stripped away any lingering arrogance left to him, instilled in him unwavering standards, and set up the scaffolding for the robust values he still holds today. The Air Force core values are as central to Dr. Quraish now as they were then. Integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. Guided by robust core values. The personal values that guide Dr. Adil Quraish are consistent with his experiences and the defining moments of his life. At the center of it all is unwavering faith in God, a steadfast personal belief that everything that happens does so with divine wisdom behind it, and thus is surmountable regardless of the uncertainty. However, that faith doesn't allow or excuse personal laxness, and so Dr. Quraish also respects himself enough to trust his judgments, live with integrity, and steward his physical, mental, and emotional health. For only in doing all of those things can he pursue his goals. The growth, guidance, and protection of his family is central to Dr. Quraish's mission. He believes the strength of a society begins in the home, and his greatest duty is to ensure the well-being of his dependents. In doing so, He builds a safe haven from which he and his family can pursue excellence in all they do, pushing beyond the boundaries of comfort to achieve great things and change the world for the better, even if it means defying convention. To lead in extraordinary ways, one must be bold enough to question what is accepted, Dr. Quraish says. Conventional wisdom often limits the imagination. Pushing boundaries requires conviction, courage, and at times, solitude. The philosophy of professional leadership. Given his core values, it's no surprise that Dr. Quraish's leadership philosophy and his professional bearing are exacting, growth-oriented, and aspirational. Every one of Dr. Quraish's professional values, every tenet of his leadership philosophy, hangs on one central belief. Excellence is the only standard. Regardless of the state of the world or the size of the task at hand, there is no good reason not to wholeheartedly commit to doing the job correctly. This guiding principle affects his professional services at every step. If success in business and finance depends on attention to detail, then it's crucial for businesses to measure and analyze their data and take accountability for the state of things. If doing the best work possible requires bringing in experts focused on specific aspects of a job, then build the elite team that can perform the task to a perfect specification. Success often demands pushing boundaries and encouraging people to grow. An effective leader is able to challenge their people and enable that growth. True success requires the full weight of your soul, your discipline, and your energy every day, Dr. Quraish explains. If you're not prepared to go all in, then you're not truly ready to achieve anything meaningful. Anything worth building, anything destined for greatness, demands everything you've got. These exacting requirements and demands for excellence must not come at the cost of integrity, however. For Dr. Quraish, leadership is uncompromising. The lines of ethics and legality are impassable, but the mandates of the mission are similarly ironclad. If the goal is to be the best in the world, he believes that there is no room for anything but total commitment to values and mission alike. That's the only path to success.